Alright, so here I'm going to show you guys how to do a PSD network. It's a lot easier than it seems. The nice thing about a PSD network is most people, when they take different classes for Maya and learning how to grab your UVs, they open up the UV editor and the instructor will show them how. It's easy to overlook. There's so many new tools in Maya, it's confusing. There's a UV snapshot. Now, I'm not going to show you the UV snapshot. I mean, this is pretty simple, pretty easy. If you need to know about it, I can show you. The one that I like to use, and the reason why, it's a lot cleaner than the UV snapshot. The problem with UV snapshot, you have to remove your lines, put them on the appropriate layer, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt. Well, the convenience of the one we're going to use, let me close this real quick, is the create a PSD network. Now, we're going to switch to rendering, and the convenience of it is it will actually make a layer that we don't have to crop out or move around. It'll actually put your UV lines by themselves on a layer, and then your background texture, or excuse me, color underneath it. So what we can do is grab this guy. We already have the texture in here. A lot of times you want to do it before the texture is even connected, but that's okay. We can do it this way. It's not a problem. We can go in here and go to our texturing, create PSD network, pop that up. You'll see interface come up. And we want to set the appropriate resolution. We can set 2048 or 1024, whatever you envision for your project. I'll leave it as 2048 for now. I think our image is probably a little bit less res, but well, let's be safe. We'll do 1024. Sorry, almost got confused there. Math, it burns. All right. So, and to make things easier for you so you're not confused, you don't have to have a texture on here. So we're just going to add a new material to this guy. So a lot of times it's before you even put your texture on here. You just have your UVs laid out, you know. And it's better to have nothing on here too, because then you can just start from scratch, paint, bring your image in there. And the nice thing about it, we can update back and forth. Now, the problem that occurs with Maya, if you decide to update back and forth between Photoshop and this PSD network, you really have to be careful. Because if you decide to do that, only create one layer, and that's the color. Now, if you start making all these, sometimes Maya can get a little confused. So I'm just going to do color, translate it over. There's a little arrow that pushes it over to the selected attribute. And I can go in here and let me close Unity to speed things up a little bit. Goodbye, Unity. I love you, dude. Sure, say, dude. Call this pimp. Sorry for the momentary pause there for a second. And going back to here, we have color selected. And with color selected, I'm going to go in here and choose the area I want to save it. And a lot of times you just want to save it in your maybe your project folder if you want. And for now, I'll just do it on the desktop. So make it easier for us. Just grab it. And we'll call this Earth. And the reason why I did this is because I don't want it to update that Unity full file. I just want to show you real quick here. So I hit Set. And now I want to hit Create. Now what's going to happen is Maya's taking that UV layout, and if we open up Photoshop, we can now File, Open on the desktop. It's really this easy. Let's grab Earth. Where are you, Earth? There we go, right there. Grab them, open it up, and you'll see we have the UVs, and we also have a color map in the background. It does a really nice job of it. Try not to grab my brush on accident. It's like a DNA brush I got or something. So we go in here and we can change the color. Maybe the color's supposed to be Earth color, so we can choose that. Just say, maybe a little orange or whatever. You can get a little jump start on it for any bleeding areas. And we can dunk it, dunk, and you'll see your UV layout. And then now you can paint till you pass out. You can bring your image in here, copy paste it. You can clone stamp, and the nice thing about this, behold, your UVs can turn on and off. Isn't that great? So as you save it, I can save it here, save, and in Maya I can click on this guy, and you can see the colors already updating. We can either update it here or simply go in here and do update PSD network. So let's hit the 6 key. It should already be updated, but if not, we can update it ourselves. Okay. Let me just say update PSD network. There you go. Check it out. So if I need a paint in here, we'll say, just like la 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 paint, cause I like paint. Paint is cool. La 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 la. Find a brush. Blue or pinky purple. Oh, that's so disgusting. But if I hit save on here, you just go to update PSD network. There you go. Pretty cool. So that's a PSD network. Again, that's under rendering, texturing, create PSD network. Now, if you start trying to create a bunch of layers in here, and you try to get Maya to recognize them, sometimes it will break the PSD network. So what I do is create the PSD network, and then I break my connection to it. I paint in here, because I'm using the UVs mainly, is why I'm using it for. Paint, flatten it, save it, and then re-import it into my color. That is probably the most efficient way to use this. Otherwise, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes that PSD network won't update, may mess up your UVs. There's a lot of weird things that can happen, especially if you don't watch your history. So what I like to do is just flatten it and just use it, whore it out for what it's useful for, and that's for my UV snapshot. Okay, that's about it with that one. And alrighty.